Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Bosch 85159. This is a high-speed steel hinge mortising bit, they call it. This would be a 2-flute bit, high-speed steel. It's not carbide, and it's half-inch diameter with a 13/32 length cutting flute. Now, I have owned more half-inch diameter 2-flute router bits than I can imagine. I have mortised thousands of hinges, and I really have never used high-speed steel. I tried it, but I just found that I did not get near the life expectancy as I'd like to get out of a router bit. As a result, I haven't voluntarily used or bought a non-carbide bit in a very long time. I could see you certainly using this. It's inexpensive, and if you're going to do just a couple of doors and frames maybe, this would be just fine. But in a production setting, a high-speed steel would not be suitable. Now, having said that, I've used lots of Bosch cutting material, cutting items, and abrasives, tools, etc., and I can attest to the high performance of much of the product line. Now, they call this a hinge mortising bit, and it's very well suited to be just a hinge mortising bit. It has a wide distance between the two flutes so that you can evacuate and breathe the material, helping keep the heat buildup down low, and that, of course, is what will compromise high-speed steel cutting items, cutting edges, the buildup of heat. You don't need very long flutes because the thickness of the hinge that you are mortising is, not to be technical about it, but it's either about 1/8 of an inch or, maybe 3/32 or maybe 3/16, whether it be residential, standard, or heavyweight leaf. To be nerdy about it, 0.96, 1/34, or 180 thousandths, let's say, or maybe 190 thousandths if it's 5-inch tall. So you don't need a lot of length. You're not going to insert this into a plunge router. You're just going to do hinges, and not only hinges, but latch faces. If you have your lock set, you have your deadbolt, you'll be able to prep the face of the latch bolt. You'll be able to do your strike preparations as well. This would serve very well for applications where you're not trying to do a huge quantity of the items. And you're only doing those specific hardware-related tasks, such as a hinge. Now, there is a link below this video to a document called Product Catalog, which is handy because they have more than just the one diameter of bit when it comes to mortising for hardware. Now, why is 1/2 of an inch important? Well, it's a good even size, but 1/2 of an inch is very typical and common. Using something smaller is not very effective because you're making a lot of additional tool path as you cut the material. 1/2 inch is going to leave a 1/4 inch radius. So if you have hinges or strike plates or latch bolts that have a rounded corner, and that radius you can determine is a 1/4 inch, that's because it was cut using a 1/2 inch diameter router bit. There's another router bit there that's 1 1/4. Now, 1 1/4 is going to give you a 5/8 radius, and you will see that wider 5/8 radius when it comes to residential hinges. So be mindful that that's there as well. I've never used any of the other diameters when it comes to doing hardware prep work because if you're leaving it radiused corner, you have to have the associated diameter. It's going to be 1/2 inch diameter or 1 1/4 diameter to leave a 1/4 or 5/8 radius. Also, if you're squaring the corners out, and Bosch Porter Cable does, I'm sure Bosch, I don't know, but people make corner chisels. It's a device that you hold in your hand with a spring-loaded piece of machine high-grade steel that is a chisel to create an inside corner. You place the item in the corner of your prep, and it's cut or relieved back to account for the radius, and then you hit that with your hammer, and it will square out the corner. That's made for a 1/2 inch diameter router bit. Would it work for a 3/4 inch? No, it wouldn't. So I wouldn't really deviate from that at all. So 1/2 inch is going to be the one that you're going to use, possibly 5/8. If you're going to do 5/8, you'll probably need a special collet on your, pardon me, a guide. I call it collet. A guide for the base of your router. You'll need a larger one. But if you're going to do any sort of production work, just buy carbide to begin with. In my opinion, the high-speed steel is the free one that you get with the tool. Well, that didn't work very well. Let me get the carbide. So there is also a link to Bosch router bits general info. Not a lot to say there. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Bosch products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the Bosch? This is their part number 85159, 1/2 inch diameter high-speed steel hinge mortising bit with a 1/4 inch shank, by the way, or any other Bosch product. Please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.